All right. How's everybody doing? So today we're going to be talking about the ROG gaming charger dock. Now I've had this dock for a few days and I've had some time to kind of mull it over and test it out and see what I think about it. It is a pretty good dock. It does what it's supposed to do. I will say, as far as docks that will deliver the full power, I think this is one, if not the only one. So if you're looking for a dock that will allow you to boost up to the full potential and use up all your power, I would highly advise, you know, probably going with this dock. However, there's a few caveats. Nothing is perfect in life, but I will say it is a pretty good dock. Now, the pros of this, it is very nice that you have detachable cables that you can swap out for whichever type of cable you like. I do like that it is a braided cable. This cable that it comes with is a very, very high quality braided cable with a built-in little cable management rubber band type thing. It is very nice. I do like that touch right there because I am one that likes to kind of keep my cables tidy when I can. It did come with two little dust caps, which I've already lost, but these little dust caps can come in handy if you're in a dusty environment and you want to keep any, dust and debris out of the tip of this thing. That will help you out a lot. Now, as far as the HDMI cable goes, you don't get an HDMI cable. That's not a big deal. You supply your own. Maybe they could have tossed in an HDMI cable. That would have been cool. No big deal. Now, the next thing I want to touch on before we get into my issues per se, and they aren't really huge issues that you may or may not experience, but they're just something that you should be aware of. So if you're plugging this in behind a TV stand or a desk, one of the things that I would kind of make sure you have enough room for is going to be this charger dock. Now, this is just right here, an HDMI cable. If you start plugging this thing in, it sticks out about the same, maybe a little further, just depending on the HDMI cable. But if you look right here, we're going to measure it from what would be the wall, I guess. Let's see. Before you start running into issues where you're going to mess up your cable, I'm probably going to be willing to bet about 4.5 inches. So you really want to have at least 4.5 inches of wall to desk clearance or wall to TV stand clearance if you're shoving this thing in behind somewhere. Now, the stock power adapter, you would only need about 3.5. Yeah, about 3.6 inches. So almost an entire inch extra is going to be required if you are plugging this behind somewhere. Now, the other two things that I ran into were when I upgraded this to my 2 terabyte SN740, I had to do a cloud recovery basically, and it allows you to kind of like bring back a stock form of the OS, and it makes it a little bit easier so you don't have to reinstall like drivers and all that good stuff. Um, the one thing I will say, you get to a certain point, if you're using the dock that Asus made themselves, if you're using the dock, and I did this on a live stream, so anyone who is watching, drop it in the comments and tell them I'm not making this up. If you're using the dock, you will not be able to do a cloud recovery. You will actually have to use the original power adapter that comes with it. I don't know why. I would assume that that's something they could fix, but Asus, if you are watching, that is something that I ran into. And as soon as I plugged in the stock power adapter, it would allow me to proceed to the next step. So you may or may not experience this issue by the time you're watching this video, but if you are, just keep in mind that you want to have this thing handy if you're going to do any type of cloud recovery. Now, the other thing I want to notate is monitor compatibility slash TV compatibility. I will say this is probably going to have more TV compatibility than anything, but I will notate that it is picky with monitors. I've had about 6 different monitors that I tested. Some of them worked great at 1440, some of them worked great at 1080. It really depends on what type of refresh rate you're wanting to set. Now, with that, I have a 240 hertz 1440p monitor, and it would not let me do over 60 hertz on this particular monitor. Why, I don't know. I went in and tried doing all the turning this off, turning that off. Like I basically went in and turned off any type of V-Sync, G-Sync type stuff like AMD has going on. So I tried enabling and disabling FreeSync. I even went in through here and made sure everything was set to the right resolution at the right refresh rate. No matter what I could do, about half my monitors just did not want to display over 60 hertz. I even had one monitor want to display 75 hertz at the highest, which was kind of odd. Um, but I did have some monitors that would gladly do 1080 at 120 hertz, but that wasn't my experience on all of my monitors. Why some like it, why some don't, I really don't know. I'd like for you to let me know in the comments if you've had that issue or if you have a solution for it. But so far I've messed around all the options in here. I've tried disabling and enabling everything I could think of to get it to work, and it just wouldn't. Now, working with a capture card, I did hook this thing up and I did use it on my Elgato. It did work really nice. However, my Elgato capture card is limited to 60 hertz, 60 FPS, so I wasn't able to kind of milk all the performance out of it that I would have liked, but the quality was nice, plugged right in, I didn't have any issues with it. So if you're screen recording, hey, this should work perfectly for you. If you're using a very specific type of monitor, you might want to ask the community if they've tested it or if they're using it. I did talk to some other community members and they did say that, hey, their monitor worked fine. And then I've also had some that say their monitor did not work fine. So it is a mixed bag when it comes to monitor compatibility. There may not be a ton out there that are incompatible, but it is something to notate. You could run into an issue with it. I'm not quite sure what that is yet. But other than that, the dock's very nice. I like the quality. I think they did a good job on it. The price is a little steep, but honestly, this cable alone right here is probably going to be a $20 cable at least. It's a very high quality cable. So, I mean, you are getting a really, really nice cable with it on top of the dock. So, I'm hoping this video will help somebody out. Maybe it'll save somebody a little time, maybe a little trouble. If you're having issues getting your monitor to work, hey, well, I had that issue too. Maybe we can all figure it out together. If you would like to see more reviews of more docks, let me know. I'm trying to see about getting my hands on some. I would love to give the pros and the cons and what works and what doesn't work. Overall, I'd say it's a B+. You know, for the money, you get what you pay for with a lot of the other ones. Some of the other ones just don't work straight out. Like I bought some of the cheaper docks like these, and of course these you really get what you pay for. They just don't do much. Honestly, they're great for giving you extra USB ports and kind of allowing you to use an external memory card reader if you like, but other than that, this dock is pretty much the way to go. There is a Ugreen dock I would like to get my hands on. Some of the community members are recommending, but other than that, I guess I'm going to end it here, and I hope all y'all have a good afternoon, good evening, or good night.